Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Max on Color. And today I am joined by my co-host and my special guest, our special guest today, Alex Williams from Louper. Hey, Alex, welcome to the show.
Hi, Max. Thanks for having me on. If I'm not looking directly at you, it's only because I'm looking at you on my second monitor, so I don't think I'm being
Exactly.
rude.
No problem at all,
It's
because
okay,
I'm
it's
also
okay.
surrounded with like 3 monitors. So if I'm looking here, I will be like looking at my screen that I'm sharing, and at here I have my webinar thing going on.
Right. I'm in a
In
similar
case I just have
position.
one screen here, so it's okay for me.
Oh man, Diego, I envy you. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Happy to be here. It's been I've been putting this off for so long, and finally we're doing it. We spoke sort of 6 or 7 months ago, and I said,
Yes.
no, but
This is amazing. Also, what's new today is that we are also broadcasting to Red Giant channel today, and we're looking forward for that. It's like if anybody have questions in the how do you call it, in the stream, just put it in the chat, and we'll try our best to answer them. Right? And there are also a question and answer with Alex at the end. So let me walk you through this sessions a little bit. I think back in the day, back in 2021, where COVID happens,
No,
we
it was
are all like
2020. It was 2020,
2020.
man. Yeah.
It's called 2019, Diego, for a reason.
All right.
I think back in the day, like most of us post-production professional were like really looking into solutions. How can we still manage to work without going to the office, meeting people, but still pushing out great content out there, right? And one big questions that I always have is that how do I grade with my client, and how do I do that? Do the remote grading, and it has been like a big challenge for me. And I hope, like, I don't know if that's also the thing with a lot professional colorists out there. What about you, Diego? As you
No, so
Is it something?
it was. I remember that it was kind of a mess during that
Yeah,
time because at least here in Colombia, we couldn't go out, so we were like in our house. And I remember that one time I went like I escaped, kind of escape, to go to my grading room to pick up my grading monitor and then bring it to my house. But it was like escape. It wasn't allowed to go out. That was funny. That was funny.
you're against the law.
I was against the law, like going and bringing it. And then I was having a documentary, and I was saying like, okay, how can I communicate with the DP? What I'm doing.
Yeah,
So we were doing all kind of things. Like, I mean, first sending stills, but sending stills is like everyone looks different. But it wasn't synchronic. It was an
yeah,
asynchronic review. And the problem of asynchronic review is like you don't have feedback at the same time, at the same moment.
exactly.
So many things were losing in that communications. Then I mean, Zoom appeared in our life, and we were
Yes.
like communicating via Zoom and so on. But it wasn't a good quality. I mean, we had so many issues. Then I mean, all of that kind of platforms, Teams, Zoom, StreamYard, and we were figuring out what to do. But there weren't a solution. And
Yeah.
in that moment, I had that documentary, and we did also one thing out of the law. We meet with the DP, and I said to him, "Hey,
Oh,
come to my house." He said, "Okay, if the police catch me, I will say that I will go to the supermarket."
Diego, why
And-
are you saying this live?
The color of
so he
supermarket,
actually
yeah.
came with a supermarket bag to my house just in case, just in case. And we
That's the
both with masks. I remember that I
yeah,
have a case here.
safety protocol.
Yes, it was crazy. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
for me, things changed when I met Alex at IBC last year, because I was always asking is like how do people collaborate like online and do like synchronous monitoring review, so to say. And I met Alex at IBC, and he mentioned to me that, hey, I'm a founder of Louper, and I was so curious. What's Louper, Alex? Could you like talk to me a little bit? And that's actually what Alex is going to introduce to us, the Louper IO. And this is such a nice platform where you can do remote monitoring, color accurate, and you can do your synchronous review. But before we jump into Looper, let me do a little housekeeping, just a little one, okay, before
Nice.
we start. Um, if you go to maxon.net/events, you'll be able to see all the events coming up. All these events are hosted by Maxon, and most of them are webinars. We have webinars that goes from Monday until Friday. So if you're pretty much into webinar and you want to learn more about workflow, make sure you go to maxon.net/events, and you'll be able to see the topic that you like. For example, tomorrow, Hashi and Seth will be back, and they will be talking all about VFX, and in a show that called VFX and Chill. And on Monday, Dustin and Lionel will be back on Redshift, and they will break down the workflow to make your render pop in the Demystifying Post Productions webinar. And all these webinars are recorded. So if you're asking yourself if you want to find where to find these recordings and you want to rewatch them, follow with the examples, you can go to YouTube and search for Maxon Training Team. There, all the recorded will be hosted, and all the files, everything will be there. And what's nice is that all those video are timestamped, and that's the work of love from Dr. Sasi. Thank you so much for providing the timestamps. So if you just want to skip directly to a topic that you're interested, you can just follow the timestamp, right? And if it's your first time joining us in the webinar, you know that you can always get Maxon goodies, right? If you follow the link, let me check. So if you follow the link that you're seeing in your screen, you'll be able to get into our super secret merch store. And to get into that store, you just need to apply the code, and the code is Redshift renders. And you can get one of these goodies, either t-shirts or beanies or a hat, by using the code. All you need to pay is just the small amount of shipping cost. Yeah, that's all. That's the housekeeping for today. So, Alex, back to you. Could you, like, before you start telling us about Louper, could you tell us your background a little bit, your background story a little bit, Alex? Who are you?
Yes, I'm just sort of trying to figure that out myself. I will keep it brief.
Yeah.
I come from the film industry. I've been working in the film industry since I was 16 as an editor, obviously a runner, and then assistant editor. And I started cutting quite early on in my career, very fortunately. I started out in commercials. I'd always wanted to go into editing, but I really, from the age of 12 or 13, was editing videos in my bedroom, and really became interested in filmmaking and quite obsessive about it. So it's been something I've done for a lot longer than I haven't done. I then went from commercials into feature films, which I really wanted to do, independent films, and then working in the cutting room as an assistant editor, second assistant, and then first assistant on some studio films, like The Danish Girl and Bridget Jones's Baby, and something else for Paramount as well. In between projects, I always used to sort of go back to advertising and commercials and editing for commercials, and that was really kind of what I enjoyed more than feature films from a lifestyle point of view and work-life balance, which sadly in the major motion pictures there is little of that to speak of, and I hope that's something that changes. Anyway, my first experience with remote tools, and this is where I end my life story slightly and begin my Louper chat, is I was cutting a commercial in 2019 for a director who was based in LA, and we were in London together. I live in London, I live in the UK. And we worked together for a few weeks. I'd known him for a long time. He went back to the States and wanted to do some director's cuts of this commercial. And at the time, the post house I was working at had Clearview Flex, which was great, but it was cumbersome and expensive. And I've always been freelance, and I thought, well, this is awesome. Like, the actual work is cool, but how can I do this for something that works for me financially and setup wise and hasn't got hardware requirements and the first thought was, well, children and teenagers are doing this on Twitch every day, so why can't we adapt it to the film industry? So that was kind of where the seed was planted for me. I then didn't do anything about it and just kept, I'm not from a tech background. I was like, I'm just going to edit. I'm going to keep editing. This is what I love doing. And then obviously COVID hit, and like everyone else, I was stuck at home, and I did actually have quite a bit of work carrying on. Fortunately, there were quite a few jobs that finished shooting just before lockdown engulfed all of us. But once that dried up, I was kind of twiddling my thumbs thinking, man, I should go back to that remote thing. And it was difficult to try and figure out what to do and how to do it, not coming from a tech background. But I really believed in it. I really believed that there was an opportunity to make something that was accessible to other freelancers and smaller post houses like me, who didn't have massive budgets or the ability to take on rented hardware from the likes of Clearview Flex or Evercast. And after much blood, sweat and tears, I managed to push out a beta version of Louper. Kind of as at this point, it was, a project, and but it very quickly caught on, and I realized actually there's something bigger here. So
and I must say that the pricing is like really, really friendly, and it's really nice pricing.
Yeah, it is really friendly. In some respects, I think it's too friendly, but
yeah.
But I think that's really where I'm coming with it from. We will support larger enterprises, and we're getting interest from larger enterprises. But really, the focus from day one was to build a tool for people like me and you. People who don't have massive infrastructure behind them, aren't full-time employees somewhere, for example, are freelance editors, need tools for a given project, and then maybe not later on in the year or whatever it might be. So it was really that's where I came at it from. And that's kind of the attitude I've adopted. Obviously, as time has gone on and we've grown, we're getting interest from bigger companies, and they've got specific needs around product and compliance and things like that. So we will grow to cater to those people as well, but we will always cater as well to freelancers and individuals. That's my background, and that's what I want to keep doing.
Good.
So yeah, that's it in a nutshell from where I've come
Awesome.
from to where I am now. and we've got the screen share on. Shall I jump in, Max? Are we ready?
Yeah, the floor is yours, Alex.
All right, cool. So I like to work backwards. So we'll start with the room and kind of what you can do, and then we'll go back to everything behind the scenes that makes it work. What you're seeing on your screens now is a Louper Room. Because we're doing StreamYard and live shows, I haven't got video chat on. I can see Diego's in there. Diego, before we get into all sorts of trouble, do you mind just muting yourself in Louper? Oh, you've left,
There you
actually.
Yeah.
You can stay and mute yourself. But right, so this is the interface. It's all browser-based for clients. You click a link in the web browser, you join your Louper Room. That stream you're seeing now is coming from Max. Max is actually streaming that from Premiere Pro to us. And he's pressing play. That is a live stream out of Premiere Pro, sub-second latency. You've got full control over bitrate and frame rate. So I think Max is probably doing 1080p. In fact, I can tell you what he's doing in the
Exactly.
1080p
Yeah,
25. And that is coming out of his Premiere system via our desktop encoder and then into the Louper Room. I'll get to the desktop encoder in a moment. But just to show you, I've also got I'm also streaming to the room at the same time. So on the right over here, you can see stream 2. That's Max's stream. Stream 1 is me, and I'm also playing out from Premiere Pro. I can hit play in Premiere. And you'll see that updated over there. So that's it for live streams. Now I'll get back into which live stream sources you can use and toggle between. I like Max's picture more. I'll jump back to Max's Running Man. That's cool. And so live streams is one thing. Another thing you can do is upload video files, which I've got a list of over here or over here. And those video files will play back in sync for everyone who's in the room. So everyone will join the room, which we're not doing now because we're broadcasting over StreamYard, but multiple people can join the room with video and voice chat integrated, and you can then have a synchronized playback of these video files in your room. So I press play, it plays for everyone. Someone else can press pause, it pauses for everyone. They can jump to a specific frame. There's a frame counter down here. You can frame forward and frame back.
That's good.
So that's kind of the sources thing. So obviously the main use case and what we built originally was live streams. A feature we added later was the ability to upload video files and watch those video files in sync. So there's kind of two approaches there in terms of what sources and what content you want to review. Is it a live session? Is it pre-rendered, pre-exported content you want to review later on? We support both workflows, obviously. I'll jump around the room a little bit now as well, so you can see we've got on-screen drawing tools, so that everyone can see that in sync. You can mark up the frame and point to things and whatever else you want to do there. You've got text chat built in. You've got stream stats as well, which is pretty useful for live stream sources. So if I switch over to my live stream, I can get full bitrate information, kind of stats for nerds, they call it on Netflix. We just call it connection quality stats. So that's useful as well, especially for remote clients who might be on funny internet connections. It really helps with troubleshooting if you need to troubleshoot. This kind of gives you a real-time overview of the stream health.
Nice.
And what's going on.
Really nice.
So that actually, we've had people, especially at bigger companies who have multiple Louper rooms and they're using this at scale, go, this is a social lifesaver. They're not having to scratch their heads wondering what's going on. It's all right there in front of them. So that's it kind of for the right sidebar. There's connection tester stuff. There's keyboard shortcuts. You can change your webcam and mic, which I won't do now because obviously I'm on StreamYard, but yeah, that's it for the right side of the room. And then the left side, you've got your video and voice chat. You can have active speaker regions, or you can change the layout of video thumbnails as well. You've got push to talk or open mic. That's useful, especially for audio sessions or to eliminate feedback, which is a common problem with remote workflows. Push to talk is basically press and hold a button and you're unmuted, release the button, you're muted again. So especially sound editors who use Louper use that a lot in their sessions. That's it in a nutshell for the rooms. Obviously, like I said, that's browser-based. That'll shrink down to work on mobile, on phones and tablets as well. That's all directly in the browser. So we support Chrome, Safari, Firefox. Chrome does perform the best, but we do make every effort to support all browsers. There's no desktop app. There's no native iPad or tablet apps. Everything is in the browser. Eventually, we may explore those options, but the bit of feedback we always get is that people love it for clients. They can just click a link in an email and join the Louper Room. No sign up required for clients or anything like that. So that's it for the Louper Room. And then before I jump into the rest of the platform, I'm going to show you LBS. So many people will be familiar already with OBS, which is a very popular streaming software. It's open source. We've customized it to work with Louper. It's really quite simple. We've also stripped it back a lot, so it's really streamlined into only what you need it to do. At the moment, this is where you compose your stream. So I'm connected to Adobe Premiere Pro over here via NDI. So I'm playing out NDI from Premiere Pro, and I'm bringing that into LBS. From LBS, I punch in my room stream keys, and those appear in my that all appears in my Louper Room. We also support Blackmagic hardware, so I've got a separate computer attached at the moment, and that's a signal coming out of the Ultra Studio Mini Recorder 3G, coming out of the DeckLink card into an Ultra Studio recorder, which looks like that. I've got another one over here I'm showing on my screen. A lot of colorists use this. That just lets you bring in an SDI signal or HDMI signal into LBS and then stream that to your Louper Room. On top of that, NDI works with Avid Media Composer, Premiere Pro. You can do NDI out of Final Cut Pro as well. Obviously, a lot of people are already using Blackmagic hardware for I/O and monitoring. And so really the Ultra Studio Mini is a way to bring an SDI or HDMI source back into your computer. It can be the same computer you're running Resolve or whatever else on. It can be another computer and stream that to your Louper Room. You can also do, so this is in addition to the file upload capability, you can stream a media file. So in this case, you don't need to upload this to Louper servers. I've got an MP4 loaded in here. You can drag and drop a file from your desktop and into LBS and stream that to your Louper Room. So if that whatever's playing in there will play in the web browser in the Louper Room. There's control over here as well over resolution, frame rate, and then audio and video bit rate. So we do up to 20 megabits per second, which a lot of people use for online or finishing work, and up to 512 kilobits stereo audio. That's it for LBS. It's really straightforward. And then I'll jump to the dashboard, which has had a bit of an overhaul recently. So that's all my rooms. We now have team support as well. So at the moment, I'm the owner of Alex's team. There are other people who are part of my team. Anyone who's part of my team can see and join these rooms as well. And we can also see share and join file spaces and upload video files to Louper, which we can then link to a Louper Room. Back to the rooms dashboard very quickly. You can have multiple rooms. A lot of post houses do this. You can have one room. You can mix and match room types. It's totally up to you. A lot of post houses will have multiple rooms or assign one room per editor or per edit bay in the case of offline editorial, and the same with colorists. Sometimes people have a new room for each project, or we're kind of flexible with how you want to do that. The room settings are modular. So here I've got 5 rooms are in use, and I've got 1 room which hasn't been set up yet. So let me just run you through the setup of that room now. You set up your room name. You can label the room. You can have video, voice chat, or none. You can toggle that depending on how you want to run your session. And then there's microphone mode, text chat on or off. Streams, you can add up to 4 streams to the same room. So as you saw in this room, there's a stream coming from me and also a stream from Max. You can have up to 4 streams going into that room if you so wished. People have started using that, especially for VFX reviews, where you might have multiple VFX artists on the same project, and you want to review with artist A or artist 1 if they don't have a name, and then switch the stream and view the work from us as two without leaving the room, basically. So you can have one room for everything. That's it for streams. Access, you can control public, private, or team. These features are coming very soon. They're ready to roll out by the end of the month. So you can restrict access to rooms, and you can also select individually who can and cannot access rooms. That's for people who are part of your team. On top of that, we also support, and have done since the beginning, the ability to join a Louper Room from a link, which doesn't require any kind of sign up for clients. So if you have a client, you can send them a link via email or text or whatever you want, and they can click that link and join the Louper Room. No sign up or registration required. You can passphrase protect rooms, and you've got lobby or a waiting room feature, which a lot of people use as well. Similar to Zoom, you have to admit someone before they can actually join the session.
Yeah.
Metadata, people don't really use this very much. It's more used for production and camera feeds and having information about director, producer, DP and stuff on production camera feeds. It's not really used so much for post. So if I complete setup for that, I get my stream keys for the room, and I can then plug these stream keys into LBS and stream to that room. Back to the file spaces very quickly. This is really simple. It's not meant to replace your asset management platform at all. It really is just for you to get files into Louper that you might want to review in your Louper room. So the idea is any files you upload, you can then connect to a room. So over here, I've got a file space called Project X, and within that, I've got multiple files. Some of them are assigned to a room called Alex. Others are assigned to the room Alex UK, which is the room we're in over here. And you can see the files appear in here once they're assigned. So yeah, again, this is not for you to replace your asset management platform. It really is just for you to get files into Louper and view those in sync with other people. You've also
you like to make a presentation, right?
Exactly. You make a presentation and go, okay, these are the files. Let's review these files in in synchronized playback with one another. Yeah. And again, you've got your team as part of the file spaces. They can see and upload their own files as well. Settings, all of this stuff is kind of self-explanatory in the dashboard. You can manage your team members and teammates. You can adjust your name. Plan and billing is all done directly in the dashboard. There's invoice history and everything else. And then support. We've got full-on setup guides, and that's something that people really seem to love, is we have step-by-step video tutorials, which I'll show in a sec. We've got frequently asked questions, we've got a troubleshooting section, and then we've got currently email, and we've just started doing live chat support as well. And later this month, we will be sort of launching studio pricing plans, which will have higher frequency and slower response time support. However, that said, we do have extensive setup guides and troubleshooting sections and FAQs and articles on how to use various features. So, for example, on the setup guides, you've got setup guides for various NLEs. You've got setup guides for using Blackmagic hardware to get HDMI or SDI feeds into your room. All of these are step-by-step with video tutorials on each page. And that's really quite simple. We've kind of designed them to be really straightforward. And most people are up and running within 5 to 10 minutes. So that's it for that side of things. Yeah, I think that's a pretty brief rundown of what it does and what you can do and what you can expect from it. And obviously, most people spend most of the time in the room reviewing sessions. Obviously, I can go on for days about how I think synchronous review is better than asynchronous review. I do think there's a place for both of them. I don't think one should be used and the other at the expense of the other. I think both asynchronous and synchronous is important. But yeah, especially for online editors, colorists, offline editors as well, trying to do small changes or tweaks or working with a director asynchronously, I think is often crazy and incredibly time consuming. So that's really what the problem we're trying to solve is to make these workflows, well, to be able to do them remotely in a proper way, not via Zoom, which is insufficient quality, but also so that people don't have to travel necessarily and save huge amounts of time. And really that's how I came up through the industry was being in edit suites with directors and producers working on something together, collaborating. you just trying to do that with written notes or emails back and forth is crazy. So yeah.
So what about speed connection? Internet speed connection, yeah.
That's a question we get often. It's actually really light. Our default bit rate, which is what you're seeing now, is 2.5 megabits per second. So often people go, I need a gigabit fiber connection. I'm in the English countryside right now on not very good internet, and it's fine. So yeah, so it's 2.5 megabits up is kind of the minimum. We recommend, if you're doing video chat and everything, which most people do, around 5 megabits per second upload and download speed, which these days is
it's not low.
That is really light.
Yes, 5 megabits is really light.
Obviously, our streams are pass through. We don't do any compression of the stream. So if you stream at 4K 20 megabits per second, we won't reduce or compress that in any way. That's going to get passed straight through to your participants. So obviously, the people who are joining your session need to have 20 megabits or more connection speed. We have got articles on our help website about connection speed and bit rates. But yeah, for most use cases, it's really light.
That's good. So what about, I mean, it's probably the latency is up to the internet connection, right?
Well, yeah, not entirely. It's partly based on the internet connection. Latency should be in the region of 4 to 8 frames on a 25 frame project. So you're looking at somewhere sort of between 300 and 500 milliseconds. I'm very close to London. We've got servers across the globe. That's important. The closer you are to a server, the lower the latency will be. I'm very close to our London servers, and so I get latency of around 200 milliseconds, which is about 4 or 5 frames. We've got server locations: US West, US East, London, Germany, Singapore, Tokyo, Sydney, Australia. So yeah, we're sort of global infrastructure.
That's pretty much global.
Yeah. And so latency is designed. There's also stuff in the back end in terms of how we process streams, as well as in LBS, the desktop encoder app, to keep latency as low as possible. So in all circumstances, you should expect latency of not more than 1 second, but often lower than that.
All right, perfect. So in the case, for example, we are in a meeting right now and we are writing comments. And Max can download that comments and that to markers in his timeline.
That's something we don't support yet. So frame-based comments we don't do. That we just do live text chat. So the whole
live text chat
around real time. Yeah, it's something we've been asked for, and it's something we may look into. But we're really focused on fixing real-time workflows. And there's a plethora of tools out there that do frame-based markers. I'm not saying we won't do it. We'd love to do it, but we're trying to solve problems that don't have solutions yet, or whose solutions are very cumbersome.
I'm so excited. I really want to test this. So, what about the session? Can be recorded for the editor to look at? I don't know.
No, you can't record the session. It's another thing we get asked for, and it's something we might do. Part of that is security. We don't cache any streams on our side. It's all passed through. Those packets get received by our servers and passed straight on. We don't cache them. We don't store them. We don't record them. So yes, session recording is something we may well offer in the future. It's something we don't currently do, and if we were to do it, we'd like to find ways to do it without caching or recording stuff server side, if that makes sense, because a lot of our customers have very strict security requirements.
Yes, good.
And I have another questions, Alex. I think it's regarding the how do you call it, the color consistency. I think like a lot of people, what a lot of people been doing is like when they are sending their feed into the stream, and the other thing is that they're also is also sending the LUT for calibration slot that you can use for your how do you call it, device that you are watching the content on, right? Is it something that is also possible in Louper?
So this is a question that comes up all the time, and we get emails about it all the time. Currently, we support 420 8-bit SDR. We're actively working on 10-bit 422 HDR and SDR. Right now, we do 420 8-bit SDR. We've done and we've actually just published these results on our website. We've done pipeline tests with SDR 8-bit 420. There is no color shift or processing applied by us. And so any differences you see between source and destination will be as a result of the device you're viewing on, as well as the browser. So what a lot of colorists do is they know which devices their clients are using, which often are iPads or MacBooks.
iPad Pro is really good.
And iPad Pros are great.
Yeah.
And they'll have the same devices. And so what we say is, look, there are so many variables, and we don't know what your clients are viewing on. Are they viewing on calibrated displays? Are they not? A lot of the content that people are working on these days are destined for the web only. So they're kind of the devices then people are going to be viewing on. And so we say, look, it's kind of up to you to figure out that, you know, how this is going to play. There's a level of trust you need between the colorist and client as well with remote workflows. Obviously, your colorist is working on a calibrated broadcast monitor. Your clients are viewing on MacBooks or iPads. Yeah. And what conditions are they viewing that in? What lighting environments are they viewing that in? So there's a lot of variables at play, and it's our job to try and control the variables that we can control. So, which is not easy. So yeah, at the moment we do 420 8-bit SDR. You can apply LUTs in LBS. So what some people do is do in sRGB to Rec 709 LUT. Because we generally render in sRGB. So that is an option. It is possible to add a LUT to individual sources or to your SDI Blackmagic feed, for example, to then do a conversion LUT. And I will, before you ask me a load of scientific questions, Max, I will say that my knowledge on color science and formats is not what I'd like it to be. But I do know that a lot of people use the sRGB to Rec 709 LUT just for that reason, so that people are seeing their streams in a Rec 709 color space. Not to harp on too much, we have in development support for HDR, SDR, 10-bit 422 with color accurate playback outside of the browser. So that's something I can't put a time frame on, but it is something we're actively exploring. Right now, we are only browser based.
And that's really great. And with the pricing point that you are doing it at the moment, I think you are like the friendliest in the market.
Yeah, I'd like to think that from a pricing standpoint, and also from a general interaction and email standpoint. So yeah, and a lot of that comes down to, look, if you're doing broadcast stuff for television, and you need clients to be viewing that on a broadcast monitor on the other end. Well, we're maybe not the solution for you right now. We will be, but we're not right now. What a lot of our colorists as customers do is they're working on stuff for the web, and so much stuff now is only ever seen on the web, right? Or actually on people's phones. And so there's a level where you go, well, SDR 420 8-bit is perfectly reasonable, and it's what the end users are likely to see on tablets and iPhones anyway. So it depends on the projects as well. Obviously, for some projects we won't be suited to, but for a lot of projects we will be suited to.
That's perfect. And you know what I like it also is like what you said at the beginning. You were a freelance and you want a tool for freelance, because every day we are more like working remotely around the world.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. It was crazy for me to think that I could even I could edit remotely, and that kind of obviously happened almost overnight with the pandemic. Before I started Louper, I was cutting all the time, and it was, people went remote, and now there's a hybrid thing, and which is awesome. But it was crazy, especially in the advertising world and in commercials editing. It was crazy to think that you could not live in London or not travel to London every day.
Exactly. Work. If you're not living in a hot spot.
Exactly. I during the initial phase of the pandemic, I made a total living from my home office, which is something that I'd never done before.
With the availability of Louper nowadays, you can offer your service internationally, and you can still, do the job, do the work from the comfort of your studio or office.
Yeah, and that's the other thing we find. We get customers coming to us going like, they a good friend of mine who uses it, loves snowboarding and goes on snowboarding trips, but still works remotely and streams from his chalet.
Wow.
So there's that, there's that side to it where it's cool for people who want to go and live somewhere exotic, but it's also great for people who just don't want to have to commute all day every day. Even people who, we find people doing this cross town within the same city, or I won't mention any names, but there are some bigger customers who use it within the same building because they don't want to be going up and down to different floors of the building. They'd rather jump into a Louper room. So it really is from cross town or same building collaboration to international. It's
great.
Totally flexible.
Is there any place? Is there any place for me to squeeze in one question from the audience, Alex?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Q Labs is asking, so Louper recognize only the zone of preview inside the Premiere, probably the viewer in this case. Is that like the only thing, or can we set like
the GUI?
Louper?
The GUI.
Exactly.
Good question, and
the
something I
well.
forgot to show you guys. You can actually set the whole GUI. So over there, I've got a display capture. You can do a window capture as well, just to do like a single application window. But in here, you can see I've got my my whole timeline, my whole monitor on display. The full Premiere Pro GUI. The other thing you can do in LBS is I can then switch between that view and the NDI signal while I'm streaming. So I can go from there back to there, and we can work together on the timeline and move shots around and do whatever it is we want to do. And then let's say we want to watch the cut back. I can switch back to the full signal and watch the full screen. So LBS is like OBS, which is what it's based on. It's super flexible in terms of sources and what you want to show.
And what about the pop-up window, Alex? So for example, if I'm working with Magic Bullet Looks, and I'm working with Magic Bullet Looks a lot, if I'm in Premiere, for example, since Magic Bullet Looks works in a new model window,
in a floating window,
in a floating window, will it be also recognized? So
if you do a display capture, everything on that screen will be recognized.
I see.
I just realized I'm sharing all sorts of stuff now. So in this case, if I've got Premiere Pro open, I can open another window. So if I open my keyboard shortcuts, everything that's on this monitor will now be shown on the screen.
Yes, we said. So it's the same workflow with Media Composer, with Final X and Resolve.
Sorry, let me just fix my sources here for a second.
All right.
Yes, sorry, say that again, Diego.
So it's the same workflow with other non-linear editing systems like Media Composer, Final X, or Resolve?
Yeah, so LBS will connect to those via NDI. So you can do NDI out of Avid Media Composer as well. You can do NDI out of Final Cut Pro. You can do NDI out of Resolve, but it's a bit weird. So the way that we recommend people use Resolve is using the
mini recorder
hardware. So the Ultra Studio Recorder 3G is the most popular because it's cheap and it's portable, and you can.
This is 120, so it's really cheap.
So probably that's the same method as well. If I'm working in Cinema 4D, and if I want to show my screen, that would be like through the Blackmagic hardware as well, right? It
depends what you want to show. If you want to show the GUI, the GUI, then it would be a display capture. If you want to show the actual clean output, that would be via Blackmagic.
I see.
So if you're outputting anything from your computer via HDMI or SDI, and through Blackmagic hardware, like you would be your signal from Resolve, you'd have to bring that back into your computer using a Blackmagic recorder or similar. In fact, let me very quickly show you the signal paths. So on this one, you've got Blackmagic hardware, SDI out to your broadcast monitor. You can then loop the other SDI port into the SDI in and then stream that. Or the more popular route is to have the separate Blackmagic Ultra Studio 3G, and then have your signal coming out, loop it out of the broadcast monitor or out of the Blackmagic device into the SDI in port.
Is one better than the other, Alex?
No, not really. Most people use this one here that my mouse is on just because
it's cheaper.
They like having the separate device. The other benefit of having the separate device is that you can then run LBS, which you're using to send your stream to the Louper Room on a separate machine, not on your grading system. So you can keep your grading system clean and then just stream it, using a MacBook Air or a spare laptop.
And just by the way, if any of you in the audience, if you are like getting confused with this terms and so on, and if you want to find out like more resources, you can simply go to looper.io and go to the documentations. Like there are like pretty like thorough walkthrough for your setup guide, and like what Alex just showed us. There are really nice documentations in the website as well.
Yeah. So that's at looper.io, and it's the setup guides, and then there's also some interesting stuff on the blog. So go to the setup guides first, but there's like sort of deep dive into some stuff like the sync play and file uploads. There's a whole deep dive into that within the blog, and various other things.
So Alex, I'm thinking in the idea just not in post-production, but in production live. Can you set like a signal, a camera signal to the mini recorder, and the mini recorder go to the presentation and people start looking at what is happening in the camera?
Yeah, so that's a use case we've supported since day one. You can use an encoder like the Teradek Video Go.
All right.
People are also using Magewell Ultra Encode SDI boxes. So you can stream from hardware encoders as well. We're not limited just to LBS, the desktop application. So for on-set workflows, that's great if you've got an internet connection on set. In fact, let me pull that up. I've got that covered too. Do I? Yes, hardware RTMP or hardware SRT encoder. So there's a setup guide for that as well. So stuff like the Teradek Video Go, which will take an SDI or HDMI signal in, you can stream that to your Louper Room. So in terms of streaming protocols, there's RTMP and SRT support. People who are familiar with streaming and encoders will be familiar with those. But if you can stream it to Louper, you can stream pretty much whatever you like. So if that's a camera signal, again, you can either have a laptop with an HDMI or SDI signal from the VT op or directly from the camera into the Blackmagic box and then stream that, or you can do it directly from one of those encoders I mentioned.
Nice. Yeah, I have my WhatsApp here, and I'm sending your webpage to all of my friends because I'm really excited. It's like, hey, look at this. This is what you were looking for.
Yes, it's been looking for years.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I like it.
On that subject, Max, shall I just quickly run through pricing?
Yes, please.
It's super simple. I'll show you in USD. We do GBP pricing too. It's a per room fee. So we have a free account, which is free forever. So there's no charge on that at all. It's somewhat limited in terms of feature set, obviously. The only difference between the plans really is, number one, how many people you can have in your room, and number two, how long you can run that session for. So on the free plan, it's 2 people and 40 minutes. We don't have any other restrictions on that, though. So you can test out your stream. You can test out all your various bit rates. You can test out streaming from various bits of software. And then when you're ready, you can upgrade. The plus plan is $39 a month per room. That's 5 participants and 2-hour maximum session duration. And then the pro plan is $99, which is up to 10 people and 24-hour session duration. And before anyone asks, you can have as many sessions as you like. You can restart a session at the end of the time limit as well if you're on one of the lower tiers. You can have as many sessions as you'd like per month. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we will be bringing out a studio plan later this month or early next month, which will have additional features like client-side watermarking and a few other things with it. So that's it for the moment. Obviously, you're targeted really at freelancers and independents. We do have bigger clients, of course, using multiple rooms. So some people have 8, 10, 12 rooms because they have teams of editors. But it's all on a per room charge.
All right. So
this is great.
You show us that you can have files like inside Louper.io, inside Louper Cloud, to presentation. What about this the storage that you can have?
Storage at the moment is again, when we launch the studio plan in a month's time or so, that will be clearer. At the moment, it's a really low 20 or 25 gig storage. Again, no one so far has said I need more storage. They are using the feature, but like I said, if you understand that it's not meant to be an asset management replacement, but really specific files that you want to drop into a session, and it's not intended for long-term storage either. So people will have files that are a few gigs that they upload, do the session, and then remove the files later on. So so kind of hot storage. That said, we don't delete or terminate those files in any way. If you want to leave them on there forever, you can.
Nice.
Yeah. What else I had on my list was Max sending a stream to the room, but we did that at the beginning already.
We did that at the beginning.
And I'm actually here in my cell phone, and the quality looks really nice.
Yeah, great. Are you on Android or on you?
I'm in Android. I'm in Android right now. Oh, cool. And look what I'm looking at what you are showing, and it looks great.
Yeah,
same.
I mean, you can really see that.
I just saw you, Diego, cell phone. I can actually see you on the video chat in the Louper room.
Yeah. Look at here.
Nice. And you can really see in the Alex stream that anytime, because this is what normally happen. A lot of art director will say split the difference, and by using this type of monitoring, you can do it really easy.
So I'm imagining something really crazy. It's like I don't know, the director in an Uber or in a taxi, and they want to see the cut and so on. So they open the cell phone, they log, and they say, okay, it's perfect. Can you cut this? Can you cut this? While they are in the Uber or even on a train. That is nice.
Or in an airport, and you get a bunch of.
Or in an airport, yeah. Look, and the quality is really nice. I'm impressed. And what I like, it was so easily, as you say. I mean, that's the problem of having an app.
Yeah, and as Alex mentioned before. Yeah. And as Alex mentioned before, by sharing the source, not just the, how do you call it, the NDI, but mostly from a screen capture, I can now show any pop-up windows that I want to show.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
I'm looking at, look, we show also here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and then you can switch back and forth as well. I mean, we don't have to do it now, but you can switch scenes and and
that's
jump
really
back
cool.
To full screen in LBS. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
But yeah, you're right. Imagine trying to do this asynchronously. Trying to tweak this shot, the effect on this shot, or the color on this shot, by sending files back and forth. It's just it's almost impossible.
You're just saving a lot of times by doing this.
Yeah. Trying to do that asynchronously is at worst impossible, and at best takes infinitely long. 10 times, 20 times longer than doing it live. So yeah, that's what I'm most excited about is being able to save huge amounts of time and actually work, remotely, but without any of the downsides of doing that.
Yes.
So yeah. Did we have any other questions, Max?
So far, there's no questions from the audience.
I can only imagine that's because I've done such a good job explaining.
No, and I'm sure everyone is like, hey, I want to test it. I want to test it. Yeah.
And if you want to test, simply just go to the Louper.io, and you'll see that you can make account for free.
Yes, with the free one.
Exactly, yeah, that's the best part. It's instant sign up. So yeah, you don't need to enter any credit card details when you go. Well, I'm already signed in, but you get asked for your name, your email address, you create a password, and you're in. And I will also say that if anyone who's watching this or comes across this wants to try out the Plus or Pro plans, we do 7-day trials. If you email me, I'd be more than happy.
Where can people reach you out, Alex?
You can find me on Twitter. I don't log in very often, but I'm trying to log in more often. What I do see all the time is my email, which is just alex@louper.io.
Nice. Daniela in the chat just mentioned that she just signed up.
She just signed up. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this is let's try. Everyone that is
Let's
watching
try
right
it.
now,
Yeah.
let's try it. Let's try it.
Yeah, exactly. And what I'll do while we're on here actually is, if I can, I need my authenticator device.
All right.
Which is I always wonder what would happen if I have so many things that I need to log into. But if something were to happen to my phone, I would.
Yeah, I was thinking the last day the same. Yeah. You will not have money. You will not have anything.
Daniela mentioned in the chat that her region is not listed. Where are you based, Daniela? South America.
Do it. Select the region that is closest to you. So wherever you're at, whichever city listed is closest to you is the one to select. We do also offer more regions on the paid plans. We don't have any servers in South America, but you should be able to use US East or US West without any trouble.
Yeah, the closest one is closest to Virginia if you're in South America.
Yeah, it would be US East, right?
Diego speaking from the experience, right, Diego?
Yeah, I know. No, next time we should make this in Spanish.
Yeah, Diego is based in Colombia, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, I figured as much. Yes, which I think is US East for you probably is the closest.
Yes.
Maybe
yes,
it's
yes. Yeah, I mean, we need to make some tests, but I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So again, Daniela, if you're listening, if you send me an email, in fact, I'll have you on my system. I'll set you up with a pro account.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you, Alex.
Yeah, I think I've covered it from my side. I think I'm sure afterwards I'll go, damn, I forgot about something or other. But yeah,
and we did it like very well because we are almost hitting our time. It's like we still have 5 minutes. If you want to, Diego, do you have any questions?
No, I'm actually going to start it after the webinar finished to start testing it. I'm excited.
Yes.
And I'm sure there are going to be many questions later.
Yeah, exactly. Like anybody of you in the audience, if you have questions, feel free to email us at maxoncolor at maxon.net. Or if you want to reach out to Alex directly, just reach out directly to him, Alex at Louper.io, or find him at Twitter. What is your Twitter handle again?
It's Alex_Willow_, I think. That shows you how good I am at Twitter. You do it on another tab quickly. Yeah, there I am.
Good.
Alex_Willow_. You can reach me on Twitter. You can DM me on Twitter, and I will. I promise I'll read it. You can send me an email, and I'll promise I'll read that too. And you can also go to Louper.io and just hit the. There's a contact page as well. So yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome. Perfect.
This is very good. Well, Alex, thank you so much. Do you have anything that you want to say, Alex, before we say goodbye? And this is.
I've said it all. I think we should end. While we're on top, much like Succession season 4. So
exactly.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I think that's it. Thanks very much for having me on, Max. We've been wanting to do this.
I mean, this is like really my pleasure, Alex. I've been asking about this like for years, looking for solutions, and it's really nice that I met you and get in touch with you, and try out Louper.io. And this is like really, really helpful and time-saving solutions.
Awesome. Glad to hear it, Max. Thanks a lot. Thank you as well, Diego.
No, thank you,
so
Alex. And this cover all the post-production like disciplines. That's a good thing. Like exactly. A VFX, an editor, a 3D.
VFX people will be very happy about this as well.
Yeah, and post-production people, we don't like to go out.
We love sitting in our cave.
Yes.
I'm sitting in a dark room. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. You're right. It is. It's what we're kind of source agnostic. Whatever you work on, you can stream on Louper. So that makes it really flexible in terms
Yes.
in terms of workflows and whatever it is you're doing is you can collaborate on. So yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
And
that's fun.
And as Alex already mentioned before, that they already have it in their milestones. That the how do you call it? The 422 or
422 10 bits.
422 10-bit system
10-bit
development.
SDR and HDR. That
Really
is,
looking forward for that, and wish you good luck for that, Alex.
thank you very much, Matt.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, on that note, let me share my screen and let us close this session. Hang on. So on that note, if you want to find the recording of this session, make sure that you go to YouTube and type in Maxon Training Team, and you'll be able to see all the recorded videos, and they will be with timestamps, right? So you can just like jump in between topics that you really want to know. If you want to check out what's coming next in Maxon Training Team, you can go to maxon.net/events, and you'll see that there are plenty of webinars coming this week as well. So, for example, tomorrow, Hashi and Seth will be back, and they will give you some nice surprise in the VFX and Chill episode. And on Monday, Dustin and Lionel will be back in Demystifying Post-Productions, and will teach you some tips and tricks in Redshift renders. Right. If you haven't get your t-shirt, do it now, right? I think I posted the link. Before.
Yeah, you posted before, yeah.
Right. So you can just follow the links, and the code for today is Redshift renders. Okay. And make sure to try out Louper.io. You can set up a free account and try it for yourself. Okay. Well, on that note, I really thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Diego. And I hope to see you in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alex.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.